Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. So now we're going to go through the possessed and possessor rule, meaning the Mudaf and Mudaf ilayh rule. So we're going to try and keep as basic as possible. So this is for beginners who are struggling to understand the concepts. This is just to provide some extra help. Okay, so how do we make a Mudaf ilayh structure? So the first thing is, what does the word Mudaf ilayh even mean? So Mudaf means possessed, and Mudaf ilayh is, in general simple terms for the time being, we call it possessor. So for example, Zayd's book, or Zayd's hat, or the wall of the house, where the house is the possessor and the wall is the thing that's being possessed. So how do I make these simple sentence structures in Arabic? So first thing is, let's say we want to say Zayd's book. So obviously, we have the word Zayd and we have the word book. Okay, so we have the word Zayd over here and we have the word book. So now obviously we need to know what these words mean in Arabic. So here I wrote down Zayd and book is kitab. Okay, so look at instruction number 1 over here. Flip the sentence so that the object comes first and the possessor is second. So in Arabic, the object, whatever is being possessed, meaning the mudaf, possessed, the mudaf comes first. So I'll write kitabun first. And then I'll write the possessor, Zaydun. So that is the first thing that you must note, is the object or the thing being possessed comes first, kitabun, and then I write Zaydun. That's step 1. Now what's step 2? One haraka is removed from the object. So now go to the object, and before kitabun, by default, you had the double dhamma. So now what I'll do, the mudaf from it, the possessed, I'll take off one dhamma. So that's the first thing. Because the rule is a mudaf can never have a tanween. Tanween is obviously the double dhamma, double fatha, double kasra. A mudaf can never have a tanween. So that's why the step 2 is that you take off one haraka from the mudaf, the possessed. And step 3 is we now go to the possessor. So the possessor is given a double kasra. Or it's given, so it's given a double kasra. So it becomes Zaydin. Unless obviously we had a word that had an alif lam on it, and we'll use that, we'll do an example of it, then it will get one kasra, because a word with an alif lam can't obviously take tanween. But here, in this case, so it will be given a double kasra. So it becomes Kitabu Zaydin, Zayd's book. So this is how we make a simple mudaf ilayh structure, or possessed and possessor structure in Arabic. So just very quickly, number 1, you write down the Arabic words. So Zayd and book. So, and then after the step 1 is the object that's being possessed comes first. You write that first, and then you write the possessor second. So kitabun Zaydun. Step number 2, give the mudaf, the object that's being possessed, one dhamma, kitabu, and the step 3 is you give the possessor a double kasra, Zaydin, unless it has an alif lam. So generally, if you see a word kitabu, the first word with one haraka and the second word with a kasra, then most likely it's a possessed and possessor structure. So whenever you're reading Arabic, keep an eye out for your possessed and possessor structures. Okay, so let's do a few examples. Okay, tiflun. Okay, how do I say Zayd's child? So those of you guys that are beginners, what you can do is you can, before I write it down, you can pause the video and see if you can do it yourself. So let's see, how do I say Zayd's child? So the word child in Arabic is tiflun. So the word child in Arabic is tiflun. Okay, so the step 1 was you write the words down and the object comes first. The thing that's being possessed comes first. So here I'll write tiflun. Tiflun. And the possessor, Zayd. Zaydun. Okay, so now the rule was the mudaf gets a one dhamma. So I'm going to remove the double dhamma and replace that with one dhamma, طفل. And step 3 was the possessor is given a double kasra. So I'm going from the possessor, I'm going to move the double dhamma and put a double kasra down. Okay, so it becomes طفل زيد, Zaid's child. That's it. So it's simple as that. It's very simple once you've understood. Okay, so that's that done. Okay, now we have another word. So let's say I want to say the door of the house. The door of the house. Okay, so how do I say that? So again, the same rule. So here, so now we have to analyze what's being possessed here and what's the possessor. So the door of the house. So here, the house is actually the possessor because the door belongs to who? What? So the door belongs to Zayd. So what am I saying? The door belongs to the house. So the house is actually the possessor here. So now the possessor, for a possessor, we don't have a human being like we did in the previous case, Zayd. So here the possessor is a house. So the reason I brought this example is to show you that in a, let's say, Tiflu Zayd or Kitabu Zayd, it's very easy to identify what the possessor is. But in these examples, sometimes to identify what the possessor is sometimes can be a bit more tricky and difficult. So the door of the house. So the door belongs to the house, isn't it? So now what's being possessed here is the door. So the door is possessed and the house is the possessor. So possessed, and I hope this is how you spell possessed and possessor. Okay, so now the rule number 1 is flip the sentence so that the object comes first and the possessor is second. So I'm going to write the mudaf first. Okay, so babun is door and baytun is second. Now the rule is so step 1 is remove one harakah from the object. So I take the object, which is the mudaf, and I give one harakah. And step 2 is step 3 is I give the possessor is given a double kasra. So from baytun I remove the double dhamma and I give it double kasra. Except there's one thing wrong with this. Look at the sentence. So the sentence is the door of the house. The door of the house. So now here, bayt, this literally means right now, babu baytin, the door of a house. So now how do I put the in Arabic? I'll need to put an alif lam, isn't it? Babul bayti. That's how it should be. So because it has an alif lam, so what you'll do is, when a word has an alif lam, it can never accept tanween. So that's why you'll take off the double kasra and you give it one kasra. So babul bayti. So regarding those words that have a the in it, you can do it the way I just did and put an alif lam in it afterwards, or you could have just done it from the beginning if you're able to do that. So for example, let me just remove this. So we have babun, and let's remove this as well. Okay, so we have babun, and then we need to write the house. So if you look, the door of the house. So I could have written just al-bayt from the beginning. Al-baytu. So babun al-baytu. So now we're using the rules again. Step 2, babu is given one dhamma because it's the possessed, and the possessor will be given a kasra, in this case one kasra because of the alif lam. So babul bayti, the door of the house. Now the question is, Um, I said I translated this as the door. Where's the alif lam for this? The rule here is that you have to remember here is that the mudaf, the thing that's being possessed, the mudaf, can never accept a alif lam. It can never accept an alif lam because by default the mudaf is always what we call in Arabic ma'rifa. It's already specific. So you can't make it even more specific with an alif lam. So just the thing to remember here is that the mudaf can never accept an alif lam. Okay, let's do two more examples. So let's say that the teacher. Let's see, what should we make with this? Okay. Yeah, the teacher of the madrasa. So let me just write that down. The teacher of the madrasa. Okay, so what you can do again, you can pause the video and see if you can make the mudaf ilayh structure yourself, and then watch the video to see if you've got it correct. Okay, so step one, let's write these two words down, and the thing that's being possessed has to come first. So let's say what's being possessed here? The teacher of the madrasa. So here, the madrasa will be the possessor. And what belongs to the madrasa? The teacher. Yeah, so this is, so this is how you have to think about it. So the teacher belongs to the madrasa. The teacher belongs to the madrasa, isn't it? So the thing that's being possessed here is the teacher. So we'll write teacher first. So mudarrisun, and then the teacher of the madrasa. Yeah, so look over here, I've highlighted the. So what I'll do, I'll just write the from the beginning, just to make it easier. Al madrasatu. So because it has an alif lam, you can only have one dhamma. Al madrasa. Sukun. Al madrasatu. Okay, so now the rule again. The mudaf. So this is the mudaf possessed will be given one dhamma, and the possessor, which is the mudaf ilayh, or in English, the possessor is given a kasra over here. In this case, one kasra because of the alif lam. So mudarrisul madrasati. Mudarrisul madrasati. So again, so very simple. So now the last one is fatihun, and then we've got madinatun. So this, we're going to make the structure to say conqueror of Medina. So Fatih is conqueror, and Medina is obviously city. Okay, sorry, 1 second. Okay, so now how do we say conqueror of the city? So the conqueror again belongs to the city. So the conqueror is the mudaf, and the city is mudaf ilayh. Okay, so the possessed comes first. So I'm going to write Fatih over here. Fatihun, and then the city, isn't it? The conqueror of the city. So I'm just going to write alif lam from the beginning. Al madinatu. Okay, so now we apply the mudaf ilayh structure to it now. So the possessed, which is the Fatih, is given one dhamma, and the possessor, in this case, which is the city, so the conqueror belongs to the city, the conqueror of the city, which will be given one kasra in this case because of the alif lam. Okay, so that's really all there is to it at a beginner's level. So this is what you have to understand. And additional rules, let's see. Okay, I'm coming. So the additional rules are mudaf cannot accept an alif lam, which we've mentioned, and the mudaf never gets a tanween. So we've already mentioned that as well. So just practice. So let's see. Let me just give me a second.